I'd like you to take a lesson from the electromagnetic spectrum. You may have learned a little bit about this in school, that basically all of the energy available, all of the bands, the frequencies, going from full charging, high frequency, radioactive material, all the way to low, slow radio waves. This is all bands of energy, it's all photons and frequencies, and it's all bound by Planck's equation, which basically describes the energy in a photon of light, showing that waves can exist and particles can exist all simultaneously in this spectrum. If you were to stretch out this electromagnetic spectrum, say from Los Angeles to New York City, when you look at what we can actually see, which is the portion of visible light in this spectrum, it would be a dime size. Visible light is such a small portion of the electromagnetic spectrum. Now you can take this thread and it can impact your life. Imagine your capabilities on that electromagnetic spectrum. Where you're operating against today is only a tiny band of your full capabilities. You are not just one thing. You exist with all of these capabilities all at one time. You are the author of what you choose to happen next. You don't have to stay operating on one little part of all of your capabilities, and you can exist as multiples at one time. Just because I'm an engineer right now doesn't mean that I'm also not working on YouTube videos. It also doesn't mean that I'm not a daughter. It doesn't mean that I'm not a sister. I can operate against every one of these capabilities simultaneously. You need to look at what you're operating against. And just because you collapse on one area doesn't mean those other areas still aren't available to you. Use the electromagnetic spectrum and quantum theory to demystify for you that you are not set in particular conditions and a prescribed path. You can change. Another thing that you can learn from observing the behaviors of light is the impact of small shifts in behavior. What you focus on really becomes the energy you vibrate on. If you're constantly living in fear and self-limiting beliefs, you're collapsing on a particular energy frequency. And just like quantum theory says, these energy bands come with high outputs and they come in discrete chunks. Focus on fear, you will get fear. Focus on happiness, focus on joy, focus on gratitude, and you will get gratitude. Choose the band that you're operating against. My most truest advice that I can give you is to operate under what is your authentic self. There's a lot of things in life that you are not seeing. Now this could be deliberately, you don't want to see them. It could be because you're focused on only one small thing, but you have the ability to choose what you focus on, to manifest your own reality. Your thoughts become things. Just because you don't see something in the moment doesn't mean it doesn't exist. There is radiation around me right now. There are light bands, there's frequencies that I can't see, and I can only see this tiny band of visible light. But it doesn't mean that the rest of the energy does not exist around me. Choose what you want to see in the world, and you will keep getting more of that. When we choose to collapse onto something, this is called superposition in quantum physics. You have no pressure to collapse onto one thing. You can be all of the things if you want to be. There is no pressure on you to collapse into a particular band of energy. Let your potential breathe. Leave yourself open to possibilities. Stop rushing to collapse too soon. If I would have collapsed into the typical engineering life, I probably would have been in my hometown now for 38 years, and I wouldn't have gotten to see the world. I wouldn't have explored almost 50 countries, and I would be in a position of comfort. When you collapse too soon, you limit your possibilities for growth. You remember that even if you do collapse, you still have the ability to open up that spectrum again and choose another outcome, because other outcomes can simultaneously exist at one time. And that is a principle in quantum physics, which is very freeing and mind-bending at the same time. Now, you can make small shifts that will really truly change your energy. Just like Planck's equation, there's a constant in there, and that's called Planck's constant, and it is a teeny microscopic constant. But when coupled with the frequency, it becomes a huge amount of energy if that frequency is the right frequency and it is high. That can show you that where your attention goes, where that focus goes, can give a ton of energy. Laser focus gives a ton of energy into that area you want to focus on. Let that be a lesson that what you choose to focus on, if you deeply focus, can yield high energy outputs. Now, this can be observed in another way. If you're only looking at fear all of the time, you can collapse yourself into a fear-born state. You can choose the frequency you collapse on. And that frequency you choose can carry a huge amount of energy, such as a positive frequency when you're resonating in your authentic self, or you can be closed off in fear, and that has a huge impact on you too. I don't know if you've ever heard of the concept of confirmation bias, where you're looking for the red car. I mentioned a red car and you see red cars everywhere. Well, just like red cars, you can focus on fear. You are a spectrum. You're a spectrum of the seen and a spectrum of the unseen. Just like we only see such a small portion of light, what you exude is such a small portion of what you are. There is internal self, there is the external self, there's what you present to the world, there's your gut, there's your brain, there's all these things moving around at once. Your thoughts become things. Believe in yourself and remember that you don't have to collapse onto one particular role. You can have multiple avenues existing all at once. And isn't that the most amazing and brilliant part of this life? That we have the freedom to choose, yet we have the freedom to exist in multiple states at once. You have a ton of potential. Tune in on what you want to grow in. Small, focused efforts yield big results. And Mr. Max Planck showed us that with quantum theory. Now, if you find this content interesting, please don't forget to subscribe as I work to beautifully engineer your life and share this journey. Bye.